Hello, welcome to week 31 of me talking impromptu. During the last week, I saw few news, but it's the same conflicts keep repeating. Iran and US have celebrated their 25th anniversary, I guess. And also the World Cup is going on. And you know the funny thing? During World Cup is happening, United Kingdom has passed few laws, policies to build huge data centers. They're all doing that while you are distracted with football. During the past week, I have heard about some of history in another person's perspective. We don't know what really happened in our history, right? There are so many perspectives from different people. In the school, we learn about some sort of history, but we don't know who want us to learn that history, and there can be another person's perspective. But the most of the history that we see in the current world is derived from Europeans. So when you say Europeans, it is the history of some people wanted to write in their narration, in the way they perceive things. So who labeled good and bad? Whoever won, whoever won or whoever survived has written the history in their own narration. So most of the time we know that the world, the humans have evolved mainly from Europe. But what if there were much better civilizations before them, but Europeans have erased those history and they wanted to be the first people who have invented those technologies, most of that stuff. And also, for the past, let's say 1000, 2000, 3000 years, there were ways of people who govern countries. Kings govern so many people. So there are incidents in history that how power moved from one person to another person, how power moved from one system to another system. You might know French Revolution, you might know so many different stories based on the environment you are exposed to. Someone in America knows about some kind of history. Some history they were taught from in their schools, but we don't know who designed the textbooks that read by American children. And in China, there can be another history taught in their school, and in India, there can be some sort of history taught in their schools. But after British colonization, so many history were erased and they manipulated or they wrote their own way of history to make people follow their way of living, right? So right now we know that Israel and US are strong friends, strong allies. And how they became like that? How they became like that? Do you know the real history? And Israel is talking about 6 million Jews were killed during World War II, Holocaust. But in the same way, there are 6 million Germans were killed during World War II, but no one talks about that. And is there a difference between 6 million Jews and 6 million Germans? I don't see a difference, but somehow many of the world leaders and many of the media only talk about the Holocaust, genocide of Jews. But even the one of the minister in Israel, Ben Gavir, I think the minister of security, he's saying famously on media that 6 million Jews were not killed during World War II, only 1 million Jews were killed, even though someone has edited the history and no one knows about what happened in Germany, how German women were raped after World War II. No one talks about it. Isn't that unethical? Even you see, even if US or UK have won the war, do those soldiers have the right to rape German women? And who is talking about human rights? The same people, same soldiers who rape those women, the same soldiers come into different committees, different organizations later, and they give lectures about human rights. So as per the story I have heard during in the last week is one of the professor in Sri Lanka was talking about the history of Jewish Palestine. So according to that story, one of the perspective, even the Jews are the ones who are telling the story, but we didn't discover the Jewish person from a writer from London have came to Sri Lanka and he was discovered this. He was looking where does Jews come to Palestine. So there were a land called Palestine way ago, but there were no land called Israel. So according to the story, this is how what happened. In Sri Lanka, there were people from now the province is called Sabaragamuwa, right? And they were fled from Sabaragamuwa to desert because of some reason. And they have found the reason. They said there were mountain, a volcano called Kotmale, and when that volcano is erupting, those people, even those people have had planes and they were good at fighting, right? And they were called Judana. So they were fled from Sabaragamuwa, and when they were flying across the deserts, they saw some green plain, and they called that plain Palas Tanna. Tanna mean plain in English. Palas mean a beautiful plain kind of meaning. So when they were flying over the desert, they saw that green area and then landed, and they called that area Palestine. And in English, when they pronounced it and derived long time, and it became Palestine. And Jewish mean Judana, Judeu, Jewish. That's how the term derived later. And the Hebrew means Habara, language. People in Sabaragamuwa talks Habara language. So Habara, when it changes into English and other languages, become Hebrew. So that is the story that happened like 6,500 years ago. Even the Sri Lanka doesn't have that much of history because all the history was erased and manipulated. And somehow one of the Jewish writer wanted to find the truth, and they came to Sri Lanka and they met these professors, and that's the conversation they had. And it's not something Sri Lankans are saying, it's something Jewish people are saying. I don't know how many Jewish are believing that story, but few Jewish are believing that story. So when they were living in Palestine, so their land was not Israel, their land was Palestine. They were living in that land, and even the people who came from Sri Lanka have given the knowledge for the Babylonian civilization, and they have said that even their flag is a lion holding a sword. And when the Babylonian civilization gets stronger, somehow they attack Palestine and they destroy their temple in Jerusalem, right? And when that destroyed, and even later King Cyrus let them build the temple again and also funded them. And again after during Roman times, they had a battle between Jews and Romans, and the Romans have destroyed the temple once more. And during that time, the priest and the scholars in the temple, before they leave in the place, they have promised to build the third temple before 6,000 Jewish years. They said, we can't let this happen again and again. We can't let others destroy our temple. So we somehow control the world. We just somehow control the world and we build our temple here for the third time. And the plans for that is going on right now in the same land. They call it Holy Land, but there was so much war, so many people, so many souls were died, sacrificed their life in that land. So that's part of the history from one man's perspective. And when those invasions are happening, the Jews are more attacked from so many emperors, and they fled to Europe and other places in the region, right? But when they fled to Europe, they didn't know how to farm, how to do poultry or anything. So they were good at money. They were giving loans and financing, and after that there were industrial revolution and people were using so much money, and Jewish trading people or the higher class families had so much money. Not all the Jewish, some were poor as well, but few families of Jewish had so much money. And one of the, you probably know, Mayer Rothschild, he had 5 sons, and one of the son who created the bank in London is Nathan Rothschild. He was famously said that whoever funds the British Empire is controlling the British Empire. And also he have said he is the one who is funding the British Empire. Now you might have heard of the mathematical equation A equal B and B equals C. If A equals B and B equals C, that means A equals C. Now Nathan Rothschild have said whoever funds the British Empire influence the British Empire. And also he have said he is the one who is funding the British Empire. So according to that mathematical equation, he is the one influencing, controlling the British Empire, right? And also Jewish, yeah. So the Jewish, as an ethnicity, they were attacked from so many emperors, countries, but somehow they kept their religion and culture, traditions within themselves. Even in Germany, even if they were citizens in the Germany, they were called non-national citizens. If they want to be national citizens, they should have convert into Christianity. And even in Christianity, in the Bible, they use the Old Testament, which is the Jewish Bible, right? So it is kind of similar, same thing, same story. But Jewish didn't like the Christianity. They were worshipping idols and they wanted to break the Christianity. They were angry with Christians. So what they did was, from Martin Luther King in 1576 or something, they give 95 questions to Pope, but Pope couldn't answer those questions. After that, Christianity break into parts. That's how Catholicism, from Pope, the few other groups were formed. Even the king in London have formed another Christian religion, and that's how the Christianity broken. And even though when they were Jewish were in European countries, they were profiting from those businesses, but they didn't like their rule as well, because when there were kings, the children of those kings, they were trained from their childhood to become like kings. So when there's like what you call agriculture, when there's a system of people are working and there's a king, it was so strong. So even the kings, they practice their kids to become proper leaders. So they were so strong. So they used another tactic to break that system and started in France. That's what led to French Revolution. To break the leadership that was so strong, the tactic they used was in the sixth day. They say in the Bible, the God created man in their image. So they said the kings were not chosen from God. Anyone can be a leader, and that's what led to French Revolution within 9 years or something, and they created Illuminati. Illuminati is an organization that spreaded these stories in the society. And one of the similar word to Illuminati is conspiracy theories. So they didn't like the strong leadership, so they, to break that, they spread a story called we are created in the image of God and no leader is above God, so anyone can become a leader. So during French Revolution they hang their king, right? And that's how leadership has evolved from kings. Now there are presidents and prime ministers. And you probably know that most of the corporations, big banking system are still run by Jewish people, right? And how they are doing that, and how the US is so much helping Israel. What creates that bond? Even Karl Marx was Jewish. He founded the Marx theory, says the, the illusion of ethnicity, that you are not belong to ethnicity, is a just an illusion, but there's the real thing is class. That's upper class people who own the manufacturing production, and there are other class who is working class. And we know that British Empire written a letter. We all know that they written a letter to a Rothschild giving the Balmoral Declaration, right? And after that, maybe they saw America as the next rising power. And at that time, there were democracy, right? New way to elect. And when democracy was founded, even Pluto have said democracy will corrupted because it become a popularity contest. Because even if you ask from people who are walking down the street, what kind of a leader is the best, what kind of a leader qualify to that position in order to lead a country, most of the people don't know. So that is something they don't learn about, they are not familiar about. Then how come a man, a human, electing a leader to be their leader? And right now, you know how media play a big role helping you to choose a leader. And that is where we have evolved from there to now. We know whoever in America comes to power, they are helping Israel. They're funding billions of dollars. And do you know, in America alone, there are some cities, there are big Jewish families who do not work, but they get so much money from, I don't know, from their organizations or somehow. And even in Israel, it is the same. They get huge amount of money and they have a large number of children. And but in normal society, a normal family can't even make 2 children. That is so financially become a struggle. But in most of the Jewish families have 6, 7, 10 children in their families. How can they do that? They still maintain their culture, values, traditions. They still have their goal in mind. I don't know. I'm not saying each and every Jewish, but few people who are in controlling positions in the world. Even the biggest asset management companies are Jewish controlled. And even according to that professor, he was saying Still, Jewish. I don't like to say Jewish because it includes all the ethnicity. I would say few Jewish people who have a lot of money and who have influence. I don't know their names. They're still going towards that goal, and the bus that taking them to that goal is the United Nations, and the security, the police guard who is keep them protected is United States, and that's where their money is invested. Think about it. For each and every conflict that is happening in the world have strong roots of fear, conflict, hatred. See, so many leaders even today come to the media and talk about 3000-year-old history. What do they know about 3000 years ago? They just found a book someone has written 3000 years ago, and they say Israel exists. But Israel is not the country their ancestors have first landed. It is not the country their ancestors have named. It is Palestine. Palestine is the place their first descendants named that place. But people right now, leaders who are breathing right now, they need a story, they need the excuse. Even they highlight the Holocaust. Why? They need the excuse to justify their actions. Even those leaders may not know what they are doing, but we don't know the elites people who are behind them and who are driving them. We don't know the dark forces, the thoughts, beliefs which are driving behind them. And we know the world is going to one world government through Agenda 2030. Who conduct that? United Nations. Who is behind United Nations? Jewish. I'm not saying they are doing bad because people are not that stupid, right? There should be a good way, good reason, but those reasons can be manipulated through words because we use words to describe anything, right? So, in the name of some sustainability or unity, they just can come out like that, but we don't know the real agenda behind them. You can't force someone to stay under one rule, but you can manipulate the way that you perceive the message to someone's mind. And right now, media does that a really good way, and media knows how to distract you as well. Media knows. There's so many news happening in the world, but you don't get to know what some people are doing. You get to know what some people want you to see. And also there are some group called Freemasons. Freemasons mean people who put few bricks into building something. And most of the politicians are Freemasons, and they just get money from different ways, different organizations. And I have told you, when someone gets money, what happens to their loyalty, gratitude, how they build a bond towards someone who is giving money. And also another thing is how Quran is created. According to that professor, even Quran is the same story as the Torah, the Jewish Bible. Quran, the meaning is must read, and it is written by a K. Wright, someone called K. Wright, according to that professor. But when I search Google, it says Prophet Muhammad, right? And when there were few religions, what happened is the smart people, you know who are the smart people? People who have invented science, technology, they were smart people. Because in the desert, you don't know just how to have abundance and live spiritually, because in a desert you need to invent things, so it becomes materialistic. But in a country like Sri Lanka, you have food, water and everything. You don't have to build much things because you can survive easily. But in a place like desert, you have to build things. So you know who got good at building things, right? And the smart people, what they do is right now, they just build a connection with, let's say, few Muslim people. Behind the curtains, we don't know what is happening. Let's say I am a rich person. I go to Muslim country and I get to know few people and I give them an idea. Let's say Iran, right? I go to Iran, I meet few people and I give them the idea. Your country is facing this much of obstacles. These countries are doing these things to you. So you need to build something called IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and they get caught in that bait, right? Now they organize and they build something called IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and those people get funds from me because I have a lot of money. I give them in a indirect way or direct way. I don't know, somehow I give them money and they get stronger and stronger and their beliefs are keep repeating and they get strong and strong in their faith and in their beliefs. And after 50 years, what will happen? What happened right now? And then the same media or other side of the media can show, look at what IRGC is doing. They are so much terrorist. They only focus about themselves. They have so much weapons. They are so violent. We have to eliminate them. And slowly you can eliminate your enemies. So that is a tactic can be used by smart people because humans can think, right? So imagine when humans have the ability to think, imagine the smartest people, how far they can think, how far they can plan, and that is what happening in the world. Still, the old wounds of years ago, 1,000 years old wounds, that their pain, roots of conflict is still repeating. But we are living in a different age now. Those things probably have happened in the past because those people were not connected like us right now. Those people have limited perspective about the world. They saw the world in only one way. They saw the world in a way that they learned from someone around them, right? But right now, even in any country in the world, you can talk with some people in other country and have a good peaceful conversation and can understand about another person's faith. But imagine 1,000, 2,000 years ago, can you understand the faith of another human? Probably not. It might be so hard to digest because you believe in a God over and over again because they didn't have any distractions like Netflix or games like us right now. So they were thinking, why are we here? Who created us? So their parent or one of the elders say, this God created us. He is so miraculous. He can do so many things. Our ancestors have done these things. Our God is the real God. And those young people believe that and practice those patterns over and over again. So someone grow up into 30s, 40s who have practiced those patterns million times. Do you think they can understand about another human, about how their beliefs are formed? I don't think so. But right now, we live in a different age. We can understand the pain, situations each and every ethnicity has gone through. In the end, we must understand each and every human is just like you and me. No matter where they are born, no matter what ethnicity they are born to, no matter what religion they are born to, each and every human is just like you and me. No matter they are born in a slum, no matter they are born in a palace, it is same human spirit, human soul. It's all energy. That's something we all know. That's something we all can agree to right now. So as young people in this world who is breathing right now, we got to understand why leaders are telling what they are telling, why they are giving excuses, what might be their beliefs. We got to think from their viewpoint, and if their views are not aligning with the peace in the world, the unity in the world, we got to make it correct them. Because in this world, there can be only one truth. Simple truth is no one knows who is really the creator. For the word God, you can give different meanings. Each and every human give meanings for different words. So if you are asking about the creator, I must tell you, no human knows who is the creator. Each and every human is like a TV screen. Think like a TV screen. When you turn on the TV, there's one program going on. After that, another program going on, right? That is a television. So our mind also like that TV. There's a thought going on in our head, and after that there's another thought, another thought. So whoever answers the question, who created this world, is someone, is like a television asking another television, who created the television? But television doesn't know who created the television. It is just like that. There may be a creator, or there may be so many creators, or one person or group. We don't know. We don't know it's in our image or different image. We don't know. Only thing we know is we are here, and we have a history, and we have a future, and it is happening at the same time. It's another subject. And one thing we know, there's nature, and there's laws in the nature, and each and every human being is following the laws in the nature. So in that sense, no one is chosen. If someone is saying they are chosen, it is their limited belief. It is a TV screen saying, I am a chosen TV. But no TV knows who that created. If any TV says that this person created each and every one of us, it is the screen saying, the television saying. So think of each and every human as televisions. So right now there are around 8 billion televisions in the world, and each and every television have their own beliefs, own opinions. But one simple truth, we all born as babies, we all die. We take nothing, and we all need to survive, and that's the truth. And we don't know who created us. And for the word meaning, the meaning of God, we can say each and every human being have the potential to align with nature, to be like God-like being, because we all are energy, and this body is not you. It is the name someone has given you. It is the name also not you have given. Someone has given you the name to this body. But imagine when you die, do they call by your name, or do they just call, bring the body? When you die, no one call you by your name. They will call you, just bring the body, put the body in the pit, or burn the body, because the body is not you, and you are energy. And in that energy, there's our consciousness, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. So what will happen to our energy? You don't know. Most of us don't know. But there are people who knows, and we can meet those people. We can get to know the truth from those people, but we have to be open-minded. It is so hard because our patterns are so strong. We have repeated that beliefs so many times in our childhood. If you are 25, you have repeated those beliefs for over 25 years. If you are 30, you have repeated those patterns for over 30 years. So it is hard. And also, in this world, when we are living, we need to survive, right? And that is the truth. To survive, we need to provide our basic needs. So who gonna provide our basic needs? We, humans, got to work. Each and everyone who is able to work have to do their part to make a contribution to survive. And we appoint leaders to create better systems and think for millions of people. In our evolution, we have evolved from kings to presidents and prime ministers, and we have given power for people who don't know anything about leadership power. So, how can we expect those people to care for millions of people and create better systems? For right now, it is the golden time. I have told this before as well. We are connected more than ever. We are so connected. So we can think what kind of leaders will do a better job. What kind of qualities in a human can think and prioritize millions of people and create better systems. What kind of qualities in a human can prioritize millions of people before they are prioritizing their own attachments towards worldly resources, titles and beliefs, because simply beliefs are something we don't know and our titles are just an illusion, some identity we form in our mind, and the worldly resources are something that no one takes when you die. So we need humans who should be in leadership positions, who can understand about themselves, their attachment towards beliefs, habits, behaviors, worldly resources, titles, humans who can be aware about their own attachments, who can be aware about how they take action, how they make decisions. For humans who have repeated patterns of same beliefs over and over again, how can we create new patterns to become more aware? If we have practiced something for 25 years, if we want to write new patterns in human mind, we have to practice. So that is a skill to be able to prioritize millions of people before your attachment to those things is a skill. It is something we need to practice. So in the future, if we want to see a much better world, much better way of living freely, happily as a communities, we should create leaders with new patterns. If they are with old patterns, they will repeat the old system, the system we have right now. The leaders who are gonna created by the same system will repeat the same patterns as our same leaders. So if you don't like the systems, the leaders we have right now, we have to create new patterns in new leaders. That is the way we can have much better free life, thriving life, fulfilled life. Even slaves 1,000 years ago didn't work as much as we do, but right now, to provide your basic needs, right now mother and father both need to work. Sometimes they need to do 2 jobs while you are working. Your children grow up in daycare centers, in the schools. When you get to experience life, we all are trying to live life. When are we gonna really live life? That's something we got to think as much more smarter humans who are breathing right now. And the choice is yours. And you got to think for yourself, for your next generation, for your life, how you wanna live. You wanna continue this system and work more and more, and even in the inflation, you got to work more and more. But some people who have a lot of money, they say capitalism is the only way. But we don't have to label ourselves as communism, socialist or capitalist. We can create much better systems for us to survive. It's simple as that. If humans can create planes, rockets. We can sit and think and collaborate and create much better ways of sharing, of distributing resources among humans on this planet and really live our life. Because when we are fulfilled with essential needs, we don't have a reason to fight, then we can really experience the life we have got. Because even to get a life, you should have done so much better things. But even this economy system, you are creating more bad consequences from your actions, and we don't have to do that. We can be conscious enough what is really going on, and we can break the old patterns and create new patterns. And the choice, my friend, is up to you.